Hi, Mr. Corsi here. Here we have a vector question. This diagram, we're told that E to A represents the vector W, and from A to B represents the vector U. Now let's look at these two extra pieces of information we're given. We're told that the line E to D is twice the line A to B, or a journey from E to D would be twice the journey from A to B. Now that journey from A to B represents the vector U, and so does any line segment that's parallel, going the same direction and the same length. So this doesn't matter where this line segment is, it will still represent the vector U. So this part of ED will represent U, as will this part. So the whole line segment E to D will represent U plus U. That's twice U. So let's write that down. E to D will represent 2U. Now we've got a similar thing going on with E to A, where we know that E to A represents W. So any line parallel to EA, the same length, same direction, would represent W. And we're told that EA is twice DC. So DC, travelling from D to C, will represent a half W. Incidentally, this has been lifted from the question paper. We can see that EA is not quite parallel to DC in the exam board diagram. Anyway, D to C will represent a half of the vector W. So let's add that information to the diagram. D to C, a half W. So the question asks us to express B to C in terms of U and W. Now the direct route, travelling from B to C, won't help. We have to go the scenic route, which is all the way round this diagram. So we'll take the route from B to C that involves B to A, followed by A to E, followed by E to D, finally followed by D to C. And we can see the vector that represents by looking at BA. Ouch! That went against the arrow, that's painful, that's a minus. So it doesn't represent U, it represents negative U. So B to A against the arrow, that would represent negative U, vector negative U. A to E, ouch, that went against that arrow, that's a very negative thing. So it's negative W that represents, another vector there. Then E to D, that's with the arrow, so that represents 2U as we figured out earlier, followed by D to C again with the arrow, and that's a half W. Now that can be simplified. Negative U plus 2U is just 1U. Negative W plus a half W would be negative a half W. So that's similar to negative 1 plus a half. Negative 1 plus a half will be giving you negative a half. So U minus a half W, that's the answer for what BC represents in terms of the vectors U and W. So that's Mr. Corsi signing out, and thanks for watching this video.